following is a brief description of traffic generation assessment fees and the real facts. Please watch and watch to the end. The facts are indisputable. This is directly from the published on city website from the Municipal Code, Chapter 140, Finance. Section 140.210, Traffic Generation Assessment Fees. This clearly defines traffic generation assessment fees and how they will be used. This is the actual code. This is what Mr. Stevens should be referring to, which he fails to do. And it shows exactly how the funds will be deposited and how they will be distributed. I encourage you as voting citizens of Wildwood to please check out this section of the Municipal Code before you vote for Mr. Stevens, or at least make yourself aware of what is going on. This is from Niles for Wildwood Facebook page. Let's talk about traffic generation assessments. Here are the facts. Well, here's a lopsided view of the facts, but as you'll see in this video, the irrefutable facts are the city ordinance, specifically the Municipal Code, Section 140.210, which we'll get into here in a second. I'm going to try and keep this video short. The TGA funds were established for future developments for roadways as a result of development. That is partially true. The rest of it we'll skip through. Bill 2211A, Ordinance 2211, by the City of Wildwood, authorizing the mayor to negotiate and execute a development finance cooperation agreement with Payne Family Homes for the development finance incentives pertaining to construction of Main Street. Main Street is a public right-of-way which would have been required to be done by the City of Wildwood at the City of Wildwood's cost out of the capital improvement budget or TGA fees developed by or generated by other projects. So he's only partially defining the facts. Here is Main Street, here is Highway 109. This is the new Main Street through going to the east, connecting to Etherton Road. Now, this picture is misleading because this is paid for by MoDOT. This is paid for by a different agreement with MoDOT and a cost share agreement, as is this portion in beige. This portion is the second cost share agreement for this roundabout down to almost the fire station property, which Mr. Stevens is arguing should be paid for by the developer. And in fact, that portion of the roadway was in fact paid for by the developer. And as you will see here, the city agrees to provide the following finance incentives in return for developers' construction of Main Street improvements consistent with the design and configuration shown on the site development plan as otherwise approved in writing by the city. Total about $450,000, which, let's be clear, that $450,000 is traffic generation assessment fees paid for by the developers, or the developer in this particular case, Payne Family Homes, which is paid to the city and then reimbursed back to the developer. So the actual source and use of funds is the improvements are paid for by the developer in advance. The assessment fees are paid by the developer to the city, in turn are returned to the developer to offset the costs to improve public roadway improvements that actually belong to and are dedicated to the City of Wildwood. As a developer, the concept of developers paying costs associated with development of property is to have true cost and realistic accountability. It is designed to avoid having taxpayers to be financially committed to a private project. I agree. Traffic generation assessment fees are paid by a developer to the city for off-site improvements for which the developer does in advance, which was done in the case of Payne and Main Street Crossing, which is done by example Deerbergs paid for the Taylor Road improvements and was reimbursed out of traffic generation assessment fees paid by the Deerbergs developer to the city and reimbursed back to Deerbergs in 2013. So Mr. Stevens needs to get his facts correct.